This is something we were supposed to talk about yesterday. We're
Yes.
coming down on time again.
I know.
But let's get to it. For those who are 40 years old, what's going on?
So essentially, I was going to try to look up the article, but I'll just give it to you in layman's terms.
Okay.
So there was a study that is out saying that after the age of 40, people should only work 3 days a week, max. The reasoning is because your cognitive behavior and also the information that you're able to consume and then regurgitate and all the things that you do every day, you're not able to do as much after the age of 40. Memory loss starts to sink in. Sorry, friends. You can't do things as sprightly as you once did. Physically, things start to change. And so this study says, hey, once you hit 40, let's all just work 3 days, shall we? And then you'll be more productive in the 3-day work week than you would have been in the 5, where you can't remember some of the things you're doing in the day.
40 seems so young to me.
Yeah, and I will be fine with working 3 days. I'm not 40, but sign me up. However, when I heard this, I was like, okay, this is interesting, considering the fact, like, let's say you have a parent who's close to retirement. I've seen, and then this is not me going off of studies, this is just me seeing grandparents and older parents, once they retire and they're not keeping themselves busy, then things start to decline a little quicker because you don't have any, you're not stimulating, you're sitting in idle. So I was kind of shocked when I heard that, because I'm thinking the more active, the better. But this is saying the less active, the better.
Right.
Well, in this study, they say that they did a research of 3,500 women and 3,000 men over the age of 40. And they gave them all cognitive function tests. And so the people who worked 55 hours a week or more had the greatest cognitive decline than those without a job or retired or didn't work at all. So what they're saying is working up to 30 hours is better for your cognitive function in that 4th decade of life, because then you'll be able to perform better in a shorter period of time at work. So maybe, yes, still stimulate your brain by being active and having the conversations on the phone with family members and going out and golfing or whatever that may be.
Babysitting. I heard another study that grandparents who babysit have a less chance to get Alzheimer's, which is an interesting study, because the Alzheimer's, while it is in the genes, there are ways to prevent it from coming on at an early stage, early set on Alzheimer's. But I want to, let's see, it was an interesting comment, because Janet Piper, does this mean that employers will still offer full coverage benefits if you're not working full time? Because this study says, and maybe the employer
wants
to
some companies, once you do 30 hours, you're considered full time. It just depends on, it depends, but that is a good question, because once you decrease those work hours, then everything else takes a hit. Salary, if you're hourly, you're not making as much money, and then, like you said, benefits.
Yeah, and to be clear, this study was done in another country, not America. So we already work the 40-plus hour work week, and we're expected to do that for life.
And if it's a country that has universal health care, then hey, they
and that's where, exactly.
Perfect.
I think it was done in Melbourne. So Australia, they've got universal health care. But you know, when I posted this study and this story the other day, I was just like, hey, what do you think about a 3-day work week?
Yeah.
And some people, at least in this country, said, no way, because who's paying for all the things? Like,
what are you supposed to live on?
Right.
Which is exactly what Judith M. Carr just
still
said.
Young.
Right.
40 is still young. Are taxpayers going to cover me wanting to go to the restaurant on Thursday?
I would think, though, if it's across the board where it's known that after you turn a certain age, your work hours are going to decrease, that doesn't necessarily mean that your salary has to increase. If it is agreed upon that at a certain age you will keep your salary, you just decrease in hours.
Okay.
It's same if you were, it will only matter to me right now is if you were an hourly employer. If you're on salary, you're expected to work 80 hours for the same amount of money, and nobody's giving you no uptick in regards to that. So, hey,
so if there's any employers out there, my question to you would be, if you knew that you could have an employee come in 3 days a week and be high functioning and give you the best product and the best attitude every day for 3 full 8-hour days, 3 full days, would you take that over someone working 5 8-hour days where they are slacking for half the time, on their computer for part of it, not checked in for most of the day, feeling like they need to go home
That sounds like people
early.
under 40 as well, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's all of us.
An age thing,
but I think about myself, and it's like, I would rather work 4 10s than 5 8s. If I could, because in my opinion, I'm here, I'm ready to go. It's that extra day where I don't get to sleep as much that I'm like, oh man.
Well, I have a friend who's currently doing a summer schedule with the 4 10s versus the 5 8s.
And how do they like it?
He feels like he's in hell. Like he doesn't, because it's, again, it switches your brain because you're working from like 7:30 to 6 instead of maybe a 9. It's a very long day. It switches your lunch hours. he's not pleased with it, and he's doing it right now. He's like, I can't wait for this to be over.
I can't
This
wait.
is ridiculous.
All right.
Because it's
Well,
just a
we know,
longer day.
I know a lot of law enforcement agencies will have their officers and different patrolmen and women working 410s because once they're on the clock,
you
they're
get
on the
all the
clock.
time, right.
And they need that time off. I know firefighter schedules a whole other
Nurses.
story.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Nurses, yeah.
We have Elizabeth Hargrove. I'm over 50 and work harder than some of the younger people I work with. I think it's BS.
Yeah, I hear you.
We get
I hear you.
So, and thank you for being a hard worker. Worth ethic. Work
ethic. You're paying into the Social Security that we likely will not see. Friends.
Exactly. Speaking of healthcare and things politically.